stand tall. I've been an angel of giving it their all. The crowd can't decide on what's just or fair. The question lingers and it's everywhere. A punch thrown hard, do they belong in the same weight class, singing the same song? Rules are rules, yet hearts still ache. In the name of fairness, what's at stake?
Okay, we're getting to the bare bones of the argument now. And here's my thing with this boxing thing with Imane, Kalief, and Angela Carini. There was one woman in that boxing ring, and there was one man in that boxing ring. There was a person in there with XX chromosomes. There was a person in there with XY chromosomes. This is why anybody had any reason to test one of them and find out that they had XY chromosomes is because they're displaying traits of a man. Their physical strength, their physical physique, their abilities and everything else. People mention, oh well, Imane Kalief lost 9 times in boxing. Well, yeah, he only started boxing in 2018. He was boxing against women who had been fighting since they were 5. They've been boxing since they were 5. Their skills outskilled him until he got more skills. And so he's went through more puberty. He's, gained more, manly qualities in his puberty development. And you continue to develop in your puberty until you're about 22 as a man. And so he's continued to, gain more strength and gain more skills and, been training and everything. And so now he outboxes every woman he comes up against because he's built like a man. He has stronger bone density. He has higher testosterone, much higher male level testosterone, which gives him higher recovery rates during training and gives him more energy and endurance during the fight. So he outboxes the women because he is a he. If he was out boxing men with XY chromosomes, he would be dead last. He wouldn't have the skills to outbox a professional boxer in the male league. So he boxes women and he wins them because he's got all the advantages of a man. Now, I got this comment on my group, a Thai Ireland community board, and this person says, hey, so this showed up in my notifications being that I'm in this group. Number one, the word you used is a slur and can only be used by trans people. Number two, she isn't trans. She is a biological female. Dumbass. So stop spreading hate, especially as someone who has trans kids. I don't believe I have trans kids. I believe I have kids who believe they're trans. I believe I have kids that are, suffering through gender dysphoria. They have a tranny father, a stepfather. What do they call it? I don't know if he's a transvestite or a tranny, but they're confused and they're going through a divorce or going through a lot of other things. They're teenagers. They go through their teenage stuff. They're in Eugene, Oregon, where everything's confusing, especially on this issue. And just believe they're going through what they've always called gender dysphoria. So whether they believe I have trans kids is not my belief. I believe I have kids that are suffering through a lot right now, and my heart goes out to them. But the fact remains, and this is what the IBA said, the International Boxing Association said, they said, we absolutely do not understand why any organization would put a boxer at risk with what could bring potential serious injury within the field of play. The main role of the referee in the ring is to manage the boxer's safety at all times. How is this reasonably practicable when a boxer fails to meet the eligibility criteria to compete, the IBA said. The IBA will never support any boxing bouts between genders, as the organization puts the safety and well-being of our athletes first. We are protecting our women and their rights to compete in the ring against equal rivals, and we defend and support them in all instances. Their hopes and dreams must never be taken away by organizations unwilling to do the right thing under difficult circumstances. The IBA stands by its position and will continue to support athletes within the spirit of the rules. At the time of Kalief's disqualification, IBA President Umar Kremlev said, based on our DNA tests, we identified a number of athletes who tried to trick their colleagues into posing as women. According to the results of the test, it was proven that they have XY chromosomes. Such athletes were excluded from competition. Now, there are men in this world with DSDs, which basically means their biology of their sexual organs have not developed properly. Women don't go through this. Men go through this, where their testes don't drop out of their stomachs. have their gonads inside instead of on the outside, and it's just a retardation or a what would you call that? A chromosomal mix-up, or they just haven't fully developed, is what it is, and they call it. Okay, DSD may refer to differences in sex development, a group of rare medical conditions that affect a person's sexual development. These conditions can involve genes, hormones, and reproductive organs, including genitals. DSD can cause anatomical, chromosomal, or gonadal sex to differ from what is typically considered male or female. DSD can occur early in pregnancy when there is a change in any factors that needed for sex development, such as genetic factors or sex hormones. So that's what a DSD is. It happens to men, it doesn't happen to women. And I think that what we can really um, deduce from this is that the left, as we can call them, I suppose, um, especially the very highly feminist left, they want to be right in all instances, and they will change their politics, um, their stand on political issues just to be right about things. So, for example, in this instance, um, like you hear all these people, especially on the left. I don't hear people on the right saying this. I hear very feminist people who love to see emasculation of men, who love to see the differences of men and women reduced, and they like to see men being emasculated and feminized. But now they're saying, because of this boxer, she was born with a vagina. She's a woman. Okay, cool. So now we know what a woman is again. Like with that Matt Walsh documentary, it is called "What Is a Woman?" And what he would do is go to doctors and activists and pediatricians and whatnot, and ask them for their definition on what a woman is. And if they especially were lefties or feminists, they would refuse to answer. They'd be like, "Well, that's a bigoted question." No, it's a simple question. What is a woman? I can tell you what a man is: an adult male human. What is the indicator of an adult male human? A penis. I mean, XY chromosomes. What is a woman? Well, she has a vagina. She has XX chromosomes. There's a lot of things that we can really, you know, assign to that definition for a woman that is specific to a woman. So I don't think anybody has seen a medical record of Imane Kalief's to say that she has a vagina. I think that maybe she has a DSD, but I don't think anybody can really say she has a vagina. What we do know is the IVA found that she has XY chromosomes. He has XY chromosomes. That means that he's a man if he has XY chromosomes. He has XY chromosomes. He's a man. He should not be beating up women. That should not be on display in the Olympics. I loved what I found on one of these meme boards. It said, oh no, it was the Babylon Bee. The Olympics introduce a new sport, freestyle domestic violence. That's what it is. It's men beating up women. I said this years ago to my kids when they were telling me they're trans. And I was like, okay, but here's the problem that I have with it. And I got my oldest daughter into karate when she was 3. And my second oldest daughter started MMA a couple years ago. And she dropped out. She didn't like being hit or something. So I get it, whatever. Um, but I never wanted them to face an opponent with the advantages of a man, like XY chromosomes, testosterone production, stronger bone density, because that would be unfair and I wouldn't want to put my children in danger in that way. So that's what I told them years ago, long before this ever happened. And I think that it's a clear indication of the left just wanting to be right and just wanting a more feminized world. And that's all it really comes down to. It's not that they really believe you can change your chromosomes. It's not really that they believe you can change your gender. It's that they want to reduce the differences in gender to be like, oh, it was just a societal construct. We're all the same. It's not true. But when it counts in an argument, oh, she's a woman because she was born with a vagina. All right. Let's go with that definition. I'm good with it. So I wrote a song. It's called Fight Fair. I'm going to play that at the end of this video tonight. Thanks for checking this out. It really is an important issue. Women should not be being beat up by men. I wholeheartedly disagree with this. Thanks for tuning in. Again, this is Ryan at disruptarian.com. Like and subscribe. We need more and more people to get this information. This is one of the more important topics of our generation, and it's only came out in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, they're trying to change what a definition of a woman is and reduce the differences and make it all like, oh, we're just the same, but whatever. No. And the reason why it's such a problem is you look at fighters like Fallon Fox cracking the skulls of multiple women in fights, beating the shit out of them, winning every fight. He was the least competitive in the male division. He was the most competitive in the female division. Just like this Imane Kalief and the other one in the Olympics, same thing. They have XY chromosomes. They have all the advantage of a man. It's wrong to put a man in the boxing ring with a woman. It's dangerous on many levels, on many societal levels, but that's one of the more specific ones. And that's one that I said to my kids years ago. And I'm going to put these links to those conversations. This is the conversation I had with my kids. And you can hear it at minute 27 in this video. I'll put a link in the description, so please check the description for these links. And you go to minute 27, and this was a conversation with my kids. And that was one of the things I pointed out in 2022 was that I don't want to see my kids getting beat up by men in the boxing ring. I love that they're fighters. I love that they're competitive. I love that they're ambitious. I do not love them getting beat up by men. I would not like to see that. And then these are all the other times where I've stood up against people oppressing gays. This was 2008. I stood against Proposition 8, which would have ended gay marriage in California. The Mormons sponsored that here in Utah for what was going on in California. I made my stand on that. I said it's wrong for them to persecute gays after they were persecuted for their sexual behavior, back in the 1800s with polygamy, that it's hypocritical. I said this was partially what I believe is responsible for the high teen suicide rates in Utah, which I call the silent epidemic. That was in 2011. And then differences in Old and New Testament. People would use Leviticus. My daughter accused me of using Leviticus to persecute gays. I have never, and this is my proof of that. In 2013, I talked about why Leviticus isn't even law anymore. The Mosaic Law was fulfilled by Christ's sacrifice. That was his whole point for coming. That's why I believed in him. I got this forgiven tattooed on me for that reason, because I believed in grace over the law, and that's what Christ brought, was grace to replace the law. So I would never use Leviticus to persecute anybody, because it's mutable, it's over, it's fulfilled. And then respect is a two-way street, forcing people to use their language. You can't force people to do things and expect them to comply. That's bullying. I don't agree with my kids being bullies. I've always tried to talk them out of doing that. These are my issues here. I hope you get a chance to check it out. Thanks for tuning in, and much love. Tune into disruptarian.com. And the music you're going to hear is produced by Emerald Sun DJ on YouTube. You can check more of that out at emeraldsun.net. Thanks for tuning in.
The crowd can't decide on what's just or fair. The question lingers and it's everywhere. A punch thrown hard, do they belong in the same weight class, singing the same song? Rules are rules, yet hearts still ache. In the name of fairness, what's at stake? Fight fair in this boxing world. Boy or girl, punches that are hurled. Is it right or is it wrong? Fight fair in this boxing world. Boy or girl, punches that are hurled. Is it right or is it wrong? Fight fair, where do we belong? Olympic dreams in a golden light. Kalief's victory shining so bright. But voices rise in a heated debate. Equality in question, what will be the fate? A sport for all, but questions arise. Is strength the limit or unseen ties? Hand in hand we seek the truth. In the ring of life, in the ring of youth. Fight fair in this boxing world. Boy or girl, punches that are hurled. Is it right or is it wrong? Fight fair in this boxing world. Boy or girl, punches that are hurled. Is it right or is it wrong? Fight fair, where do we belong? Fight fair in this boxing world. Boy or girl, punches that are hurled. Is it right or is it wrong? Fight fair in this boxing world. Where do we belong? Where do we belong? Fight fair, where do we belong? I've been a legend of giving it their all. The crowd can't decide on what's just or fair. The question lingers and it's everywhere.